Today, we're looking at a rare and unexpected incident involving one of the U.S. Navy's most storied vessels, the USS Nimitz. On Sunday afternoon, during routine operations in the South China Sea, two U.S. Navy aircraft operating from the carrier crashed within roughly 30 minutes of one another. The first, an MH-60R Seahawk helicopter assigned to Helicopter Maritime Strike Squadron 73, crashed around 2:45 p.m. local time. The second, an FA-18F Super Hornet from Strike Fighter Squadron 22, went down at approximately 3:15 p.m. The carrier's Pacific Fleet confirmed all five crew members across both aircraft were safely recovered and are in stable condition. According to the fleet statement, no active threat remains to the ship or its personnel. What makes this incident particularly notable is the preliminary focus of the investigation, the ship's fuel supply. U.S. officials say they are investigating whether a fuel anomaly aboard the carrier could have contributed to the crashes. While this is not yet confirmed, the possibility raises significant questions about logistics, safety protocols, and operational risk on board one of America's premier warships. The USS Nimitz, a Nimitz-class nuclear-powered aircraft carrier commissioned in 1975, is currently on what is believed to be its final deployment before decommissioning. The ship had recently returned from an extended mission in the Middle East, where it operated in support of maritime security and freedom of navigation operations. Now, as it traverses the Indo-Pacific region, these incidents add to a string of aviation mishaps in the fleet that command attention. To understand what might be happening, let's examine how a carrier like the Nimitz manages its fuel and aviation operations. Carriers carry fuel for propulsion, aircraft operations, and other ship systems. While aviation fuel and ship fuel systems are distinct, carriers must quickly and safely conduct high-tempo launch and recovery operations, rely on coordinated logistics at sea, and manage complex supply chains. If one part of the system is compromised, such as fuel purity, contamination, mismixing, or procedural error, the effects can cascade into mechanical malfunction or safety-critical failures. In this case, the timing is striking. Two distinct types of aircraft crashed in rapid succession from the same vessel. That suggests a systemic issue, not just isolated pilot or mechanical failure. The fact investigators are zeroing in on fuel raises possibilities ranging from contamination, misfueling, improper grading, or incompatible additive mixes to sensor failures triggered by fuel anomalies. The Navy's investigation will examine sampling logs, chain of custody for fuel, maintenance records for both aircraft, and any correlations between the two events. It's also important to note that these incidents occurred during the carrier's operations in a challenging environment. The South China Sea is geopolitically tense, with increased operations, long sorties, and demanding flight schedules. Stress on crews, maintenance cycles, and supply chains can be higher than in calmer deployments. Carriers under such loads may push margins on logistics, and any weakness can become exposed. Historically, carrier aviation has always carried heightened risk. The nature of launching and recovering aircraft from a moving deck, combined with the high performance of modern jets and helicopters, makes safety margins tight. Carriers like the Nimitz have witnessed incidents before, from deck crashes to mechanical failures. The legacy of naval aviation is one of constant vigilance. But what's unusual here is the near simultaneous loss of distinct airframes from the same ship and the early signal that fuel may be implicated. Going further back, the Nimitz has served for decades across multiple conflicts, updating aircraft systems and procedures many times over. But even the most well-maintained platforms can face risk when operational tempo is high and processes are strained. Fuel systems have been the source of naval mishaps in the past, whether due to contamination, incorrect maintenance, or supply chain disruptions. The Navy's institutional knowledge knows that after every incident, procedural reviews follow and lessons are integrated. Now, similar work is underway. From a strategic perspective, these crashes highlight more than just two lost airframes. They raise questions about readiness, risk management, and supply integrity in U.S. naval forward operations. When one of the fleet's carriers is operating far from home ports and supply bases, the integrity of its supply chains, from aviation fuel to spare parts, matters enormously. The incident may prompt broader review of how carriers are resupplied, how fuel is certified, and how systems are monitored in operational deployments. For the personnel involved, the crews of the MH-60R and the FA-18F, the rescue efforts were swift and well executed, highlighting the Navy's preparedness and training. However, for the broader team on board the Nimitz, The air wing, the deck crew, the engineers, the supply chain staff. This will be a moment of reckoning. They will face investigations, temporary grounding of flight operations, additional inspections, and possible changes in scheduling or procedures. The ripple effects could extend across the strike group. One question that arises is how the investigation will wrap up. Will it be confined to the Nimitz alone, or will its findings trigger wider systemic changes across the carrier fleet? If fuel contamination or misfueling is confirmed, the implications are global. Every carrier and deployed aircraft wing relies on fuel logistics, supply chain safety, and procedural discipline. The Navy may issue advisories, review contracts, and enhance monitoring of fuel distribution for deployed ships. In conclusion, we are seeing a rare and concerning episode on one of America's premier warships. Two aircraft lost within minutes from the same carrier, an investigation centered on fuel supply, and an operational context that demands high tempo and precision. As the investigation unfolds, many questions remain. But one thing is clear: the Navy will be paying careful attention to supply chain integrity, aviation safety, and operational readiness. We follow breaking news, so follow us and subscribe to stay current.